podcast in Jesus, openness, and encouragement. Welcome to the Encouraging Thoughts with Tomi podcast.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Tomi the Encourager back again with another podcast episode. Woo-woo! And I've been thinking, have you ever wanted to go back to a moment in your life so badly because you thought maybe if I could just revisit, probably understand and even fix it, then maybe I will finally get to heal? That's why the show hit me so deeply, because underneath the mystery, I don't think that show was really about time travel. I think it was about grief, surrender, and what happens when we get stuck trying to live in yesterday while God is actually trying to move us forward. So let's get into it, y'all. I was watching the movie called The Resort on Peacock, y'all. Now I come back with another movie to kind of explain, because again, I got another epiphany. I feel like me and God were just talking. I was like, this could be something I could talk about. And not just that, it hit me deeply, especially when it comes to, again, kind of like almost like a part two to the Wait and Surrender episode I did last month. And now we're going into June. So it was something where, again, another show kind of got me like, okay, I want to share this with y'all. So this is really good. It's on Peacock. I'm gonna go over the episode with you, or the show, should I say, with you. But again, if you're wanting to like watch it, please go watch it. I'm gonna try not to put too many spoilers, but I'm gonna try to give a good brief overview about this movie and kind of almost like a summary of it, because there's a lot of gems in there, and this is how I'm gonna relate really back to kind of like just understanding that we can't be in the past all the time. So bear with me, and this is going to be good. And I hope you get to watch the show, but also understand, as always, that this is about us and moving forward, especially in God's way. So I'm excited. So the show, should I say, really starts with the two couple named Emma Reed and Noah Reed. They go on a vacation to celebrate their anniversary. But the thing is, let me just tell y'all, it wasn't something that they came in there and was like, oh my God, yes, we're going to go into this vacation. It's great. Da, 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 da. You could kind of already tell that the two couples seem like they're together, but a little bit distant, and something's going on, especially with the wife. So they're going into this vacation, going to Mexico. And it seems like it looks good because they're going to this resort type of place. Mexico has the beaches are nice. Everything is good. The food is popping. Is a bomb. It is good. So it's supposed to be a nice vacation, but obviously, as you see the movie, as you continue seeing the show, should I say, I keep saying movie, but I think it's really actually a show because I believe it had episodes, right? Yeah. As you continue going on, you will see a lot of things unravel, especially for these two couples. So they're like the main characters. So bear with me. You will see why they're the main characters. So with this two couple, Emma and Noah Reed, they go on vacation to celebrate the anniversary. But during the trip, they were going on like those ATVs, and Emma falls and discovers a mystery phone at the bottom when she was rolling down the hill. Like, this is crazy because she's just like, bah, bah, bah. And you're like, oh, shoot, homegirl, okay? Because she was going on this ATV thing with her husband. And for a moment, she had just had this like really nice time. And then all of a sudden, you just see her like eating face, like literally rolling down the hill in the dirt and grass and leaves and stuff like that. So basically, as she comes down, she finds this phone that's connected to these two teenagers who literally mysteriously disappeared like 15 years ago. So the person that was the owner of the phone, and mind you, this was like a flip phone Razor, y'all. Like, for my millennials out there, shout out to my millennials. If you remember the Razor Hello Moto, no, like when they were showing the Razor, I said, oh, this is so nostalgic. That wasn't my first phone, but I remember I had like a pink Razor, and then later on I had a black Razor, and I love it. Love them both so much. But anyways, they had a Razor, but obviously you could take pictures on Razors, remember? So the phone actually belonged to this young guy named Sam Knowlston. And you were seeing pictures about him. You're actually even seeing pictures like he actually went there with his two parents, his mom and dad, and his, I guess, supposedly girlfriend at the time, but really didn't turn into ex, because he then later on likes this other girl that he meets at the resort named Violet. So we'll get into that. But anyways, back to Emma. they started to finally, like, Emma saw this phone and she just kind of got this like very enamored to be like, I want to understand who is these people. She started investigating. When she came back to her hotel, she started investigating, understanding what's getting there, and then eventually her husband finds out and he's like, what is going on? And then they start investigating together and everything like that. So basically they start understanding like what happened to Sam and Violet, because when she was researching on her computer, it said that they were still missing, and it's been 15 years. Now she's just like, what? I just found their phone. Did I find the missing link? Da 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 da. Like, what is going on, right? So basically they start getting to this like deeper, like into this like mystery connected to this abandoned like resort called the Oceana Vista, and it was actually owned by this man named Alexander, really, but Alex for short. And so the thing is, this is funny because it goes into this whole mystery where this man became just deeply obsessed with memory. Like if you watch the show, he's literally like, he would kind of like go in his ear like this and he would basically say like, I'm losing my memory, like his memories is literally leaking out of his ear. So you're kind of like, whoa, homeboy crazy, like what is going on, what is happening? But he's actually connected to this place called, that was hidden place known as Pasaje. So we're gonna go into that because it goes into the two young people that were missing for 15 years. So anyways, throughout the investigation, they encountered this man named Baltasar Frias. So he's also one of the main characters because he's associated and connected to the missing people, and obviously connected then as well to Alex, who was the owner at the time of the Oceana Vista when it was on and popping and everything like that. So the thing is, with Baltazar Frias, he was actually part of this whole family franchise, like literally like Mongol, named the Frias family. And so they're like very like, they got money, power, influence, but he didn't want to do anything about it. So later on, you kind of know his story, and he finds like work with Alex, and Alex knew that he was one of the Frias family, but he was like, I don't care, you're a good person, and then made him basically more of like the security and low-key like a detective at the Oceana Vista when it was open at the time. So they spent years together, trying to, just been friends and everything like that. And so when he started to notice that his friend Alex, Baltasar Frias, started to understand his friend Alex was telling him things of how he was having the memory loss, the leaking, and basically seemed like he was kind of going cuckoo in a way. And he started actually painting murals on the wall of like all the things, because he was like, well, it looks like I'm losing my memory. So if I'm losing my memory, I want to paint things that I remember. So then, if I completely lose my memory, I can at least, have the things that I remember. Like I could see the things that I drew to try to remember, or try to at least keep, with the time or something like that, he said. So he was like literally drew this beautiful mural on his wall because he was at the top. Like he had this like big old penthouse at the Oceana Vista. This man lived there literally at the Oceana Vista that he owned, and he lived at the top penthouse, and it was like decked out nice, whatever. And he had a big old wall that he was just always painting, and he was a good painter. I'll be real with you. So, anyways, this whole thing goes into there. The couple, Emma and Noah, finally, in a way, like find Baltasar Frias. They're talking to him. They're kind of like, how are you connected? That's when he goes into this whole story about himself and to Alex, and how, and because at first you're thinking the Frias man, Baltasar Frias, is the one that basically, like, maybe they killed Sam and Violet. And so you're thinking, oh my God, did he kill them? And so you're kind of thinking that, but he didn't. Now it kind of actually goes back to Alex, because you're going to understand about that too. So they're still all trying to find it. So now Baltasar Frias, Emma, and now Noah all team up. And then they have some other people too that they kind of team up. A good friend of Baltasar Frias was kind of a part of it as well too, but she was always like, what the heck are you guys doing? But they started all investigating together. And so it actually led to this thing where there was, in this book by this author, I forgot what his name, but he was also another main character eventually, where Baltasar Frias, when he was younger, used to write letters to him to say, like, your book sucks, dude. Like, it ain't good. And so obviously the author was like, what the heck, bruh? Like, heck no. And so how is this little kid? And mind you, he's like young. I think he's like maybe 12 years old, 10 years old, whatever, but he's a smart man, or smart boy, should I say, at the time. And even that smart man later on as he grows up. But he's just like, no, I'm not feeling this. So it comes to a long story short, it comes to this thing where I think the family got involved because the mom used to see like, why is he getting all these like letters in the mail from, like, who is he getting letters for? And so eventually they found out that it was this man, and then they did something where basically his reputation was bad, and so he hated the Frias family, right? So bear with me, it's gonna come back again why this man, this author comes up, because he actually wrote this book, and I can't remember if it was called the Pasaje or whatever the name of the book, but it had to do something with that Pasaje. Bear with me, y'all. Listen to that. Pasaje. You gonna, it's like the passage, time, water. You know, I'm learning Spanish. Un poquito. Anyways, so basically with that, they now find a way to get connected. Not Sam, Emma, Noah, and then Baltasar Frias, they're all kind of like, okay. They go to this author. Eventually, they find out that supposedly Emma and Noah are part of the painting that Alex drew literally years ago. This is 15 years ago. Mind you, the way their friendship, like Baltasar Frias and Alex, the one that was the owner of the Oceana Vista at the time, the one that his memory was literally leaking, they were friends. And remember I said he was painting and making murals. Now, mind you, 15 years later, when Emma finds the phone and they go to the abandoned place, like literally, mind you, this place is locked up. It's not looking good. They go to this place, they see Frias, and they actually find out that Emma and Noah are part of this painting. Mind you, they have never been to Mexico. They've never been to that hotel. They don't even know who Alex is. So they don't understand why Alex painted these people. Like, was he like how does he know about them? Basically, they've never met him in his life, so that's why it kind of gets a little weird and spooky, because they're like, whoa, how do they even know about them, right? So with that being said, that's why they started investigating. They go to the author that Baltasar Frias had an issue with when he was younger, and so they go to the author because in their book he has his like own language where he talks about where the passage is, or the pasaje is, because they find out in some way that the young couple wanted to go and find this pasaje, or the young people, Sam and Violet, that were missing 15 years ago. Who knows why, right? But the reason why they wanted to find this, and I'm kind of making this a little bit like faster in some sense, is that Violet 15 years ago lost her mom, and when she went there and stuff like that, she and her dad went there for Christmas, because this is during Christmas time all this happened. So she and her dad went to that hotel at the time because she wanted to meet the author to get more information and knowledge of where this pasaje is, so she can probably visit her mom, because it hurt her so much. It hurt her that she lost her mom. She loved her mom so much, so she wanted to kind of basically revisit in a way to kind of like, you know, revisit her, spend time with her, because she's just like, that's my mom and I lost her, and it hurt her so much. So her and her dad went out there. Now again, she meets she meets Sam, the young guy too. This is this white little boy, and he's just kind of like, and mind you, they're kind of like young teenagers. I think they're like 16 years old, 17 or something. I can't even remember. But they basically fall in love in that sense. And that's how he kind of started going into this. Mind you, he had nothing to do with this pasaje, but you know, it's like a venture. It's young love. It's like, oh my God, ooh, let's go find this together. I just met you, but okay, let's do this. But it turned out to be for them to be missing for 15 years. Like, wild, right? I know. With them specifically, and I'm kind of going to their story before I go back to Emma and Noah and how this kind of goes back to them and how they actually found them. They were looking for she wanted to look for the author. Eventually she did, and the author drove her and Sam. Yeah, they eventually actually drove Sam and Violet to the pasaje. But actually before then, Alex actually, sorry, I feel like this is kind of going everywhere, but Alex, the main guy that his memory was losing, he actually meets them because during a Christmas party that he had for the employees, and mind you, he's kind of getting irritated with a lot of things. Sam lost his skateboard, and so Sam basically took it because he thought, oh, this is my skateboard, but he didn't really realize that this is someone else's. So they were trying to look for this skateboard and everything like that. So they go up to the penthouse. Mind you, this is when the Oceana Vista was running at the time. They go up to the penthouse, go find it. Mind you, these are young love couple. They started kissing, and then they hear someone coming in, and this is Alex coming because this is his penthouse, right? So they're like, oh my God, we gotta hide. They hide in the closet, and eventually Alex like opens the door of the closet, and so they're like, oh my God. But he didn't do anything. He was just kind of like, what the heck, why are you here, kind of thing. And eventually was starting to ask questions. He wanted Violet to open her bag because he was like, are you guys trying to steal from me? And they were like, no, we're not trying to steal from you, dude. they wanted to get their skateboard back, Sam's skateboard back. So with that, he opened the bag for Violet, made her open it, and then he found that book from that author that knows about the Pasaje, right? And so he starts reading this, and he's like, "Whoa, this book is about me." Da 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 da. Like, how did you get this book? Well, how did you know that? And she's just like, "Whoa, I don't know you. I don't know what you're talking about." Da 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 da, kind of thing, right? So eventually he kind of just like has this thing where they're going in his car, he's trying to look for the pasaje in some sense, and he actually then later on, like as they're driving out, because mind you this is like stranger, and they're kind of like, okay, take us back, but he was just like, no no no, we're gonna go here or something like that. He basically then tells them, don't go to the pasaje, don't do this, because in a way with this pasaje, and I'm kind of telling you this now, it's like a time capsule, it's like a time place. And so in a way, I think Alex was gone through this time capsule things many times, and it's almost like he can kind of see in the future. I think through the time capsule he was able to see kind of in the future and how this is going to affect people, hence why I think he knew like Emma and Noah will be tied to this and eventually find the phone and other types of clues. So with that, he basically warned the two young people, Sam and Violet, don't go to the Poseidon. But they did it because again, Violet was like, I want to see my mom. I miss her. And she was connected in some way to that. And she even gave her the book at the time from that author. And that's where she thought that was that link. So with that being said, they eventually get in there, and it's actually flooding because it's raining, and eventually they get into the capsule. Now we go back to Emma and Noah and Baltasar Frias. And with them, they finally eventually go out. They finally find this place. They're looking everywhere for it. And so with that, they see the whole end of like to get into the Pasaje, and Emma and everybody's getting inside, mostly Noah and Emma and stuff like that. So Emma now finds this like main place because she sees like this like hole on top, like that's kind of a little high. So she actually gets on her husband's like shoulders, and he pushes her up there. And this is like a cave, y'all. Like at this point, I'm looking at them like, oh heck no, ain't nobody about to go into this cave for nobody to solve some clue. I would have got the authorities and said, y'all can go into this cave because no, no, no. Anyways, but they do this. As they go into the cave, she's basically like thinking of, because this is the issue why they were having like some issues between each other. She was pregnant before, but she unfortunately lost the baby when she gave birth. I guess the baby only lived for a little, like literally few minutes or something, and then she didn't even get to see the baby as well because she didn't want to. The husband did, and then the baby died, unfortunately. So of course that leaves it's hard, right? And if anybody is out there that has anything, whether it's miscarriage or lost a baby during birth, so sorry, because I can only imagine how that feels. And you could tell for sure with her, she was dealing with that grief in her own way. And so you understand more and more of like why there was this distance between the couple, herself. And so with her, as she finally finds, she sees these two people in this like literally like this kind of like a pondish weird like glowing circle. It's kind of weird, right? And as she's going there, she's kind of thinking memories of her child. She's kind of like, oh my gosh, like there's a like a moment of resiliency for her, for Emma. And this is where I kind of we're kind of get more into like how this relates to like what I've been thinking with God and everything. But she's just kind of going through her moment of like this recovering and moving forward. And eventually she goes through and she sees this two people floating in this water. And at first I'm kind of like, what the heck is that? Who are they? And it's actually Sam and Violet. And you're like, what? But I'm thinking, are they dead? Because they're just floating in this water upright and that's it. So there was a part of her that basically felt like she wanted to go inside that water. But when she heard her husband's call her, Noah call Emma, she in a way almost kind of felt like she snapped out of it. But at the same time, she realized like, I rather spend time with my husband than try to say, oh, I want to visit my baby or go see my baby and be in this place and be, spend time in this place, when rather I should just accept it, even though it hurts, and move forward in life. And so eventually you see Emma wake up with Sam and Violet, and they're literally up, and you're kind of like, whoa, this is weird. 15 years later, they're still alive. They're in this place, but they still look very young. Like, mind you, if this is 15 years later, they should be like definitely prime time adults now, right? But they still look very young. So this is kind of where I start thinking, is this like the Fountain of Youth type of place? Like, okay. So they basically find that. And she finds them, and they get out. Mind you, Violet's dad has been trying to look for her for years, because he's like, yo, my daughter. And even the family of Sam was also trying to look for it, but he was eventually was part of their whole escapade and trying to find them. And then he sees his daughter, and he's just like, oh my god. And it's like so nice, right? So eventually, this is the thing where it kind of comes to the end of this whole series, show, movie, whatever you want to call it. And the biggest thing is that they come back, they're still looking young. They're kind of not understanding what's going on, because for them, it felt like it was 5 minutes that they were in there, but outside world, it was 15 years. And so it's kind of trippy in that sense, right? And so even when they're outside, and there was a time that Emma and Violet were kind of like alone, and they were sitting down as everybody's trying to call help to like find them and, get them back to like, you know, back to civilization in some sense, right? Because they're kind of like in the like jungle. It's not too far from where they're at, but they had to get a plane, and yeah, it's a whole thing. Emma and Violet actually sit down, and they're like talking with each other, and Violet kind of starts crying a bit, and she said, it still hurts. And Emma's kind of like understanding, like, okay. And she said, still, like, basically still hurts, because even though she got to see her mom and got to spend some time with her, she said it didn't help anything of how she felt presently. Like, it still hurts of her losing her mom. So it didn't really change anything for her in that sense, right? She probably had some time to visit her mom, see her mom in that, when she was in that time capsule pond, whatever. But when she got out, she still felt the pain. And Emma said to her, like, it does get better, sometimes you just have to accept it, and it does get better. And she was just encouraging her, right? And what I like about it, because towards the end, you hear the reveal of what show this movie was really about, where basically this one woman, she's like, it's kind of messed up. She was talking to Baltazar Frias. She was like, it's kind of messed up how they were there for like 15 years, and now they're out, but they can't get those 15 years back. And I love that she said it, and I was like, ooh. She was like, they can't get those 15 years. They basically wasted 15 years of their time, even though they were there for like supposedly, quote unquote, in their time, 5 minutes, but it was really 15 years. They can never get it back. And so now it goes into what I'm trying to say with this, and how this relates back to this waiting, surrendering. Like, at times we think we need to go to revisit the past, or we need to go back to something to feel like, okay, I can heal, I can feel better. But in this case of this show, The Resort, the main person, Violet, the young girl, when she went there, it helped her maybe for a moment, but it didn't really help her long term. And unfortunately, her and this other guy, Sam, they lost years in that sense. And who knows, obviously, if they made a part two, maybe they have to try to find and explain to their family and yada, 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 and then try to be in civilization. Mind, this is like when they had the phone, this is like era, like Razor era and the flip phones era. Now this is like 2025 or 2024, whenever this movie was made, this show was made, and they were using iPhones and Androids and everything that we use today now. So you can see the time lapse, right? You can see the big difference of this, where things have changed drastically in the sense of technology, people, the way people see things, do things. It's like they wasted 15 years of their life because they're trying to find something in the past just to get that little sweet gratification. But was it worth it though? And maybe for to them it was worth it in some sense, but you can clearly see, as I told you, Violet, that young girl, was crying still, because she said it still hurts. It did, even though she had that time, it didn't really erase the pain for her. It didn't erase that for her. It wasn't like she can have it and then finally her mom is gonna be there. No. And so that's the part that I want you to understand with this, where I feel like it, and this is something I'm kind of struggling with, because I'm the type of person, especially like I said, I love to kind of go back in time, and I love to kind of like just reminisce. And I feel like Holy Spirit does that with me at times, just to kind of understand like where He has helped me through in many places in my life. But I know I can't stay in the past forever, because the thing is, we can't stay in the past forever, because then we miss the beautiful moments of when we are living in the present. We will miss the beautiful moments when we're able to see, even in the future. So if your mind, if your body and your soul and your spirit is always in the past, then how would you really move forward? I think it kind of goes back to the story of Lot and his wife, right? There is a time, and you probably all know this, where let me even get it here, because sometimes I feel like, again, I don't want to put this in scripture and then I kind of mess it, because I want you to read it for yourself, but I like to give some good summaries around Genesis 19. And it's a story about Lot and his wife, and literally just God just being God, honestly, and wanting things better for people. Okay, Lot and his wife, God was just like, we just destroying Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, they're literally sinning like there's no other thing. Like, it is horrible. People are just doing a lot of things that they shouldn't, sexually, emotionally. It's just, it ain't it. God was just like, it needs to be destroyed. It can no longer be there. Now there's Lot and his family, and there's two angels that came in, and I believe they helped them to stay with the angels, to stay with them. And so with that, the angels wanted to basically grant them and say, okay, you know what, we can basically, help you, and like, you leave, but after you leave and we give you the signal, you must, like, don't turn back. You need to go, you need to do it, because we're about to destroy the city and there's no going back. But basically what they said too is like, don't look back as you're going. And so as Lot carries his wife, his two daughters, and everybody, and they're leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife looks back, and from there she turns into salt. Like, she literally disintegrates. Like, that's wild, right? You kind of think about, like, whoa, there was no mercy for her. But it goes back to what I'm trying to say is, when we stay too focused and looking back, it doesn't do us any good, to tell you the truth. And I believe that's where God is telling us, where it's like, I want you to trust me. I got you. I know you don't know what's happening in the future. And I know it sucks. I know it's hard, because and that's the thing. The future is always like a mystery. As much as we plan, as much as we try to put things together, as much as we try to just feel like we can figure it all out, at the end of the day, God's going to still do it his own way. And that's the part that I love about him, because he does tell us to have plans, but he tells us, more importantly, to trust him. And I feel like that's something that I'm just realizing in this, is because the moment you continue to look back and say, okay, I have to do this, and stay there, you're going to stay stagnant. You're not going to grow, you're not going to move, you're not going to even get the things that you've been praying for. And it's almost like the thing where we says faith without actions is dead, right? With Lot, with even his like family, when he was moving there, they had to have faith. And so when they were given instructions by the angels to say, hey, you need to go and not look back and just keep going and get out of here as soon as possible, that's it. It's like, you have to be ready to be like, my old life is gone, behold, new creation, right? That verse, like, it's done. There's no way to look back at that anymore. There's no way to continue to ruminate and say, oh well, maybe if I this. Now it kind of goes into this next one too, where in the Bible there was also the Israelites, and God redeemed them and helped them to get out of Egypt, where they were in slavery. And with that, when they were finally out in, like, literally in the desert and everything for 40 days and 40 nights, they were complaining a lot to God, because they were like, we ain't got no food, we ain't got no water, we ain't got this, what's going on? It's better for us to just go back to Egypt, where even though we were slaves, we were still fed in some sense, or we still got some type of stuff. Now think about that. These are folks where God literally parted the Red Seas. He put like 7 plagues up on the Egyptians to let them go. That's where you get, let my people go. Like, where Pharaoh, like, Moses was literally doing, Moses and God were locked in. They were together. And you already know God helped the Israelites get out there. And it was only by his grace and his mercy. They even saw it with their own two eyes. And yet when they were finally out of there, they still doubted God. Now, that's us too. I can't look at that and start saying, oh, the Israelites, they didn't care. No, I do that a lot too. And I bet you do too. And that's where I believe, even with God in that time, he was even angry about that, because he was like, I was the one that even got them out of Egypt, and yet they're still complaining. They're still doubtful about this. Like, come on, bruh. You rather go to being a slave than trusting me to know where you're going in the future? Like, yes, you don't know where I'm taking you, but I have plans to prosper you, plans to not harm you, to give you a future and a hope. So all I ask is you trust me. You saw my works, and yet you still don't believe, and yet you're still doubting me? Y'all, we don't deserve God. We don't. We don't. Because he gives us second chances all the time. Like all the time. Like the fact that in there, and of course I talked about like Lot's wife and Lot, and she was salt, but clearly in that place, God was like, that's how it needs to be. But with the Israelites, he did also give a lot of grace. And so we have to realize and see that staying in the past, looking back, it's not going to do us any good. Once you make your decision in God to say, okay, I'm moving forward and I'm going here, don't look back, keep going. Yes, you might not know how the path looks. Yes, you might look like you're taking a step and then it gets lit up, but you have to understand that God is with us all the time. He's never going to leave us nor forsake us. He's never said that he's going to say, okay, walk the path, and you're looking at the dark valley and you're like, bruh, God, what we doing here? No, no, no. He's going to be like, okay, I know it looks dark, but I got you. Hold my hand. Oh, yes. And he's going to lead the way for us. He did it for the Israelites. He did it for Lot and his family, and he can do it for us. That's it. He will do it for us. So we have to look at this and say, you know what? Make that decision with him and say, you know what? I can't look back. Now, I know it's hard in that sense because as people, it's easier to look back because it's familiar, right? When you're familiar to kind of going back to whatever that is, maybe you're sinning, doing some things that are just like, not, this is not of you, and you know deep down inside this is not you, but you know it's familiar, so it's easier to go back to that than really move forward. That's where, again, it's only by the grace of God and the Holy Spirit to help us. And that's where you pray and say, God, I need your help. Send me your help. Send me your resources to help me to move forward and not look back no more, because these things keep pulling me back. And I pray that God, you loosen this and you bind it in the name of Jesus, and you give me your fruits of your spirit. Pray that, yo. I pray that all the time, and I'm continuously trying to, again, not in a place of perfection, but in a place of realizing I really can't do this life without God. I really can't. As much as sometimes I have moments where I'm a big head and ego this, and I'm like, oh, look at me. I believe God will come in and be like, no, girl. Because then life will teach me something, and I'm like, yeah, I need you, God, all the time. And it's only by the grace of God that I can be able to move forward, and I can be able to say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And with that, once you even pray that, that's where also to what I love about God. And I think this is something that we as a society, we need to continue to really, what is this called? In my opinion, really hold true to this, is really having community, not just any community, y'all. Good community, God fearing community, people that will love you and help you type of community, like really truly help you community. Because we're living a very type of, in my opinion, isolated type of community where we're kind of like independent. I can do it myself. Now, mind you, yes, it's nice, but we're very interdependent type of people. We're social beings. We do need, you can tell, like, that helps us with our own mental health. It helps us with our, even just us to grow. It helps us in so many things. We have studies out there that shows being in community, socializing, and all that good stuff is good. That's why the pandemic was so hard, because you're literally reducing the very things that human people thrive on, which is socializing. You're social distancing people, right? And even though, yes, we found ways to, be on Zoom and calling and other ways, we were still able to socialize. Even in that, even though we couldn't physically see people, we still socialize. So you could tell that it doesn't matter what it is, we're still gonna find to socialize with each other, right? And we have to. That's just how God created us. So the biggest thing after even praying is find good people, go to a church, be okay to ask for help. I think sometimes we as people don't like to ask for help. I'm guilty of this, y'all. I'm not trying to come in here and say you need to ask for help, like as if I don't. I still struggle with that, being vulnerable with my family, friends, and I just thank God for the people that I have around me, my community, my support system. If it wasn't for them today, I'll be real with you, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't. because I've had times where I've been with depression, anxiety, panic attack, and just feeling all types of way in my brain and my mind, where I thought, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. And it wasn't until someone reached out, or even God said, call this person and talk to this, or go seek a therapist, or have someone pray on you on this, where it helped me to just let go of those negative thoughts that the enemy really tried to hold me down with. And so you have to get comfortable to get uncomfortable in asking help. You have to get comfortable in having people want to help you. We can't do it all by ourselves. So find those people, even if it's one person. I always tell people nowadays, even if it's one person, that person that you can call at 3 in the morning, and you know they're probably going to answer, and you know they're going to be there to help you, and you know they're going to give you sound knowledge and information, hit them up, because that's better than nothing. And I see this many times on social media these days, where people are kind of like really glorifying and being like independent by themselves so much. Not saying like you shouldn't live alone. We should have moments of soloness, yes, but it can't be all the time. It can't be. If that's every single day where you don't feel like you can talk to someone, or you can't confide in someone, or you don't even feel comfortable to really say hi, or whatever that is, then there's a problem in that, because we are very social beings. So get in good community. Ask God to help you to find those right people. He has helped me many times when I asked for that. And I believe with that, it kind of goes into the biggest thing, where it's, once you find those good people, they actually hold you accountable to move forward. Because again, that's how it is. It's hard sometimes to set goals. Like I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I've been saying I've been trying to work out and lose weight. I've been on and off. But I have a group chat with my friends. I get reminders of this. Even at work, we have this whole step thing that now we kind of like help each other to um like it's almost like a competition of who gets the most steps throughout the day. That's a good helpful way to get your body moving. Again, we're doing this in community, and it's holding me accountable as much as it's holding them accountable. So with all this, you have the help. Don't look in the past, look forward. And if there's any thoughts that comes to your mind where it's saying, well, you can't do it, it's better to go this way, remember how it feels, this and this, like all those negative thoughts that I believe the enemy is putting in your mind, you need to literally say, nope, make it obedient to the word of God right away. That is what you should say. Make it obedient to the word of God. Because truly and utterly, once you do that, the enemy would be like, okay, this one, I can't mess with them. And he can't, because you're God's child. Do you know who you are? You are fearfully and wonderfully made in his image. There's no, like, you coming into this world, there was no mistake with it. And so when God is telling you to trust him, he knows what he's doing and saying. He created you. He knows you even better than yourself. So you have to trust him and not look back, and don't be like Lot's wife, because that's how it then you go back into that old way, especially when you know that old way is not the best for you. God wants you to thrive. He wants you to move forward. He doesn't want you to waste years like that one woman, Violet, the girl. 15 years of her life wasted. Ha. No, that will not be your portion in Jesus' name. That your life would just be wasted, and by the time you're old, you're just like, what just happened? Like a blink of eye. Because as much as we think life goes slow, life goes very fast. You know? And so don't let these times pass you. If God is telling you to go get help, if he's telling you to get community, if he's telling you to move forward, if he's telling you to move out somewhere, whatever that is for you, go and do it, because tomorrow is truly not promised, and we don't have time to waste. And I don't want you to ever look back almost 15 years later and say, man, I wish I did that. But I was so scared. And not being scared, those fearful things, that truly, in my opinion, is like the past. Because those are the very tactics that the enemy wants us to use to hold us down. But that's not going to hold you down anymore, because you're moving in the fruit of the spirit, which is joy, love, patience, right? Faithfulness, gratefulness, self-control. You can do this with God, moving forward in this, and knowing that as you're moving and walking, he got you. He's never going to leave you. So with all this, I'm saying is that I really like that show, and I hope you watch it, because it is a great reminder that if we're staying too much in the past, we can waste our time. And God is not someone who wants us to waste our time. He has plans for us. He has things he wants you to do, not only for yourself, but how to bless other people. You have an assignment, a mandate that he has given you, and he's ready for you to literally walk in that. But it's going to require you to have faith and to walk forward, even though you don't know where you're going, even though maybe the vision is not super clear, even though maybe things are not kind of looking like it's supposed to be. Still trust him, especially when you know in your heart and your spirit that he has told you to go this way, and don't look back. That's it. Because the moment you look back is the moment you probably will regret. And we as encouragers, we can't regret. We can't. We have to live our life to its fullest potential. And the only way we could do that is with Jesus Christ. So I ask you this. The world needs more encouragers. Are you in?